What's going on, everybody? I'm going to try this for yet a fourth time. Back with another video. I'm in the mobile studio, so if you get background noise or whatnot, that will be the reason why. So let me just dive right into today's video to see if I can get through it before something else happens to interrupt the recording. So we were in the car this morning, me and Junior, and ESPN radio ended up on. All right, I don't feel like getting into the particulars of how, but that's what happened. So they were talking about the Sixers and the Knicks game, and I didn't do a recap, but for those of you who don't know, Tyrese Maxey absolutely balled out. He had 46 points, including several key points right down the stretch, and the Sixers got the win, keeping their season alive, for lack of a better term. And so they were talking about that, what he was able to do. They were talking about Joel Embiid and, all of the physical maladies that he is currently dealing with. So for those of you who don't know, he's dealing with a knee issue, but he also is dealing with Bell's palsy. And for those of you who are wrestling fans, that may sound familiar, because that is in fact what good old JR has, Jim Ross, for those of you who don't know the reference. And where one side of your face, it kind of freezes up a little bit, which I didn't know at that particular moment. When I initially saw this YouTube video of his left eye not blinking, it was like, what's going on? And the Bell's palsy will in fact cause that. So he's dealing with that, and they were talking about, he may not, due to the knee injury, be able to necessarily go down there and not only get but retain position down in the low block. And so they were saying that he can still be effective both as a facilitator. He can catch, maybe at the high post or around the foul line, extended that area, and kind of do some things from there. And it was actually a really interesting conversation. I was into it. I am surprised, though, because I was expecting them to bring up, say, some of the other guys that will now need to contribute with Embiid injured, particularly Tobias Harris. He actually had his best game in this series. He had 19 points. He hit 3 of 6 from downtown. I think he had like 8 rebounds, 7 of 11 from the floor. So he's going to have to be a more consistent offensive contributor to make up for any offensive slack that they may be in lieu of what's going on with Embiid. A guy like Kelly Oubre Jr., Kyle Lowry, and so on and so forth. They're going to have to pick things up with Embiid being in the state that he's currently in. All that was well and cool. It was a good discussion. I was actually really enjoying it. So they pivoted because one of the reporters asked this boneheaded question. He said, well, if we're having a blame pie for the Lakers losing the series and not being competitive, who gets the biggest slice of that pie? Okay, now this question is flawed for a couple of reasons. For one, it's obvious that this cornball did not watch the series, because most of the games, which I think with the exception of one, the final score was in a possession or two, and even throughout the game, it was very competitive, which said the Lakers got out to that 20-point lead that they ultimately blew, but it wasn't like, say, when they played the Suns in 21, it was just a beat down in every game. Most of those games were very, very competitive. It was back and forth. It was good basketball. Well, enjoyable basketball. So I don't know what that joker talking about. But the other point that really caught my attention, and it's that this whole thing, and I get it, part of it, that it's the Lakers, they are who they are. The other, which is the largest factor, is that who plays for the Lakers, it's now a LeBron James team. So anytime a team that he's on, they experience some sort of loss, they don't win, whatever the case may be, there's always got to be a patsy a fall guy or fall guys. Somebody or somebodies that has to take the blame for them losing. Because at no point, the quote-unquote excuses, I'm using air quotes, couldn't be that the other team was better, they played better basketball, they made more plays, and that would be why the Lakers lost. That can't be the reason. It's always got to be some force outside of the Lakers as to why they lost. So that would be my first question, or my first issue. And then the reporter goes in, or the analyst, I forget her name, goes into this whole thing where you can't blame LeBron and AD. You know, they played well, they did this, they did that. You know, I think you've got to blame roster construction, which means we're going to go ahead and blame Rob Pelinka, because it's Rob Pelinka's fault that they gave up that critical rebound, offensive rebound to Aaron Gordon in Game 5. Yeah, that's right. It's his fault. And this just goes to show there always has to be an excuse. The question, even if you're going to ask somewhat of that question, a better way would have been to formulate it, you know, looking at what Denver was able to do. Was there any way that the Lakers could have better counteracted that? Was there anything maybe they could have done when Denver did run that Jokic and Murray screen roll? Was there anything they could have done with that? Should they have stuck to Michael Porter Jr. a little closer to stop him from getting some of those 3-pointers? Do we double Jokic? You know, all of those things, because that question makes it seem like the Lakers are just playing, like these games are played in a vacuum, and the other team, be it the Nuggets or whoever, that they had nothing to do with the fact that the Lakers lost. Like, it wasn't because of what they did, their game plan, that players. No, it's got to be somebody on the Lakers is the reason. It's their fault. It's not that the other team was better. In this whole premise, it's old and it's tired. And to hear this on a national scale, this is what I was talking about on one of the previous videos, where it's going to be an excuse already, and you can see with them floating that question out there like that, and that immediately gets to assign blame. So you can look and say, hey, it's such and such fault, which you don't see, or you haven't seen with any other superstar. Even if we go back to past Lakers team, when the Nuggets, or not the Nuggets, the Jazz was Stockton them alone, was kicking the Lakers out of the playoffs, they weren't saying, man, it's Travis Knight's fault why they didn't win. Man, it's Sean Rooks. Man, if Sean Rooks would have did, no. It starts and stops with your best player. It's like, all right, what can Shaq really get it done? Can he win? Is he just a guy who dominates the regular and puts up numbers? Can he? And these were the questions, because for the balance of basketball history, when you don't win, you start with your best player and you look at that. You don't go down to and looking at the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th man, the assistant to the secretary for the GM, the hot dog man, the dudes who wipe the floor, the security guy, the parking lot attendant. That for some reason with these LeBron teams, it's always everyone else's fault. And the thing is, I'm not even necessarily assigning fault to someone on the Lakers. The Nuggets are just a better basketball club. That's why they won. And I don't understand why they can't ever say that, even though I know why. Because the player himself never admits it. There's always got to be an excuse. And so it trickles down. And once again, you see that to try to excuse it, to wash away, to rationalize, or not rationalize, but to justify the loss. See, that's why. And so it gives them, there's always an out, when in fact the other team is just better. Take the loss like a man. Look, evaluate, obviously from an organizational standpoint, Pelinka and those guys, you have to evaluate, okay, what happened? Let's look at this. Let's look at that. And then you look to make your team better from that. But it wasn't. It's funny when they won that exhibition tournament and they were spraying champagne. Roster construction wasn't an issue then. When they went on that run in the latter part of the season, roster construction wasn't an issue then. But now when they lose, roster construction is what they're pushing now. And all that is a way to blame, to pass the buck on to someone else. And there's already another thing, not thing, but when I brought up in the last video the A, B, and C of what would happen after the Lakers lost, I'm already seeing. I saw a story from Bleacher Report. Option C that's already being talked about. And if you don't know what option C is, go back and watch the last video. I believe it's why the Lakers don't have a chance. I think that was the video. But anyway, yeah, I just saw that video and I knew I had to get out here and unpack this and talk about this, because I wasn't even planning on making a video. I was actually on my way to the gym. But the media arm of Clutch Sports, rest never. So that's all I've got. I'll be back with more videos real soon. If I was talking a little fast, I was trying to get through this before something happens and the video doesn't record. But what do you think about this? These comments? And I said I don't have the audio because I don't even know the name of the show, and I was driving, so I couldn't pull out my phone to record it. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and we'll be back with more videos sooner rather than later. Thank you for spending a few moments with us. And as always, tell the ones that you love them. Peace.